Star Wars 7x7 episode 3011. Hey, happy October to you. It is October 1st, which means it's time for us to look ahead and see what's happening in the world of Star Wars storytelling for the month of October 2022. Punch it! Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod, and this is Star Wars 7x7, your daily dose of Star Wars joy, and thank you so much for joining me for it. Alright, so if you've been with me for any of these monthly updates, then you know I'm going to try and rattle off all 12 storytelling categories off the top of my head, so let's go. It'll be movies, live action, animation, books, audiobooks, short stories, comics, virtual reality, video games, streaming, merchandise, and live events and experiences. That is the smoothest I've done those 12 categories ever. So let's start with the one that we know the least about at this point, which is movies. So last month, the inevitable happened. Rogue Squadron was taken off of the Disney 2023 release calendar, but we don't know what that actually means. The last we heard was that it's in further development, the script is, but we don't know what that means. If it means it's being tabled, if it's still being worked on, if it's going to come out at a later date, we don't know. We don't know what's going on with Taika Waititi's movie either. He gave interviews, but not very recent ones where he talked about the writing process. But yeah, we have no clue what's going on with that one either. And Kevin Feige doesn't seem like he's anywhere with making a Star Wars movie at this point. Rian Johnson has talked about how he's continuing to have meetings with Kathleen Kennedy and would love to get back to the trilogy situation, which by his reckoning is still absolutely a possibility, still something that's going to happen. It's just a matter of when and when his schedule frees up, which doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon either. So right now, the next Star Wars movie on the Disney release calendar is in December of 2025, but what it is, we have no idea. On the live action front, we're going to get 4 more episodes of the Andor series this month. Of course, that's very exciting. Next up is going to be the Mandalorian Season 3, and that should be in post-production right now. There's a little bit of uncertainty about it because at Celebration it was announced it was going to be in February of 2023 that it released, and then a recent trailer that was released said just 2023. It didn't say February, so now of course we're wondering, oh boy, what does that mean? But I don't anticipate we're going to get much in the way of news about that yet because right now everything is all about Andor, which is perfectly fine. The next series that's up is the Ahsoka series, which is currently still filming, and if it is only a 6-episode series, then they should probably wrap filming this month. But if it is longer, then they'll be going on longer. The last time we heard anything about that, Rosario Dawson gave an interview where she said they still had a couple of months left, so it suggests that they are definitely going beyond 6 episodes. How long? Don't know. They haven't announced it yet, but I think as we get further along, when we hear that filming ends, then we'll have a better idea of what we can estimate for a number of episodes for the series. After that is supposed to be Skeleton Crew, which is the series taking place with some child actors and Jude Law. Also set in the Mandalorian timeline. Allegedly, according to rumors, that has already started filming back in September, and so hopefully we'll get a formal announcement about it sometime this month. It seems like that is a reasonable thing to expect. And after that, who knows for sure, but The Acolyte is the only other series that we know about which is actively in development and casting, because there have been these casting rumors that have been percolating out in the Hollywood trades and whatnot. There's a rumor going around that they're going to start filming this month as well, but who knows for sure if that's the case. Again, need formal official announcements from Lucasfilm, but if they haven't announced Skeleton Crew yet, they're probably not going to announce The Acolyte until they announce Skeleton Crew first, one would think. Meanwhile, on the animation front, we are actually getting something new this month. Tales of the Jedi debuts on October 26th, and all 6 episodes of the series, which feature little vignettes from the lives of Ahsoka Tano and Count Dooku, all of them will be dropping on Disney Plus at the same time, and I guess I could be putting this in the streaming category of things because it's not an ongoing series, but yeah, that's okay. We're handling it here. And The Bad Batch, that one is a bit of a question in the sense that It was anticipated for a late September release, but now, of course, it is going to arrive in January of 2023. The question that I have about it then, does that mean that it is still being worked on? Are there still things that are happening in the production of the animated series and it's just not ready to go? Or is it totally ready to go and they just are sitting on it because of the Andor series and getting away from the holidays and whatnot? Kind of an open question, but also one that maybe doesn't necessarily matter all that much, just to know that it's there and it's going to be coming, unfortunately, a little later than we had hoped, but that's okay. Hopefully it's going to be worth the wait. So that's 3. Our 4th category this time is going to be short stories. I'm going to mix up the order just a little bit because last month we got the very first story in Phase 2 of the High Republic. It's called New Prospects by George Mann. It was in Star Wars Insider number 213. The first part of that story, that is. So late this month we're supposed to be getting the second half of that story in Star Wars Insider issue 214. And then earlier in the month, in fact, this coming Tuesday, October 4th, we are getting our first novel in Phase 2 of the High Republic. It's called Path of Deceit. This is the young adult novel by Tessa Gratton and Justina Ireland, which I'm reading right now and getting little chills going through it. We are out of the embargo period, but I have not finished the novel, so I don't necessarily feel comfortable, totally talking about it, other than just saying I'm enjoying what I've read so far. And there is going to be an audiobook version available as well. It's narrated by Aaron Yvette, so that's very cool too. And then later this month, we're getting Star Wars Every Day, which is by Ashley Eckstein and Kelly Knox and Elena Craig. That's coming from Inside Editions. And then we also have The Art of Star Wars Visions coming from Dark Horse Books. And speaking of Visions, I want to take a moment to talk about something happening with Visions in the comics. So our 7th category is comics. This is very exciting, and yet there's also not a heck of a lot of a detail out there about this. But Star Wars Visions is getting some kind of comic treatment from Marvel, and it's brand new storytelling. Specifically, if you loved The Duel and you loved the novel Ronin, then you're going to be thrilled by this because it is a continuation of storytelling with those characters. And what's even more exciting is that it's being written and illustrated by the person who wrote The Duel for Star Wars Visions, Takashi Okazaki. The thing that's confusing and mysterious about it is I've been digging and I cannot find out whether this is a one-shot or a limited series or an ongoing series. So yeah, hopefully we're going to learn a little bit more about that this month. But Star Wars Visions number 1 is coming out this month. Also, Mandalorian number 4, an adaptation of season 1 of The Mandalorian, is happening. The first issue of the adult, if you will, the older audience-focused High Republic comic, the new Phase 2 series of High Republic comics, is coming out this month from Marvel. And then we have the flagship title Star Wars issue 28, Darth Vader issue 28, Dr. Aphra issue 25. No bounty hunters this month. I guess the next one's coming out in early November. On the virtual reality front, we got an announcement last month, which was expected. It just, took as long as it took. Tales from the Galaxy's Edge is going to be ported over to PlayStation's virtual reality situation, and it's going to be a quote-unquote enhanced edition that takes advantage of all the things that the PlayStation VR 2 platform can do. But we don't have a date for it yet, and that's supposed to be announced later in the year. Maybe this month, maybe not, I don't know, but it's coming in 2023, so we know they're working on it. We just don't know when it's necessarily going to arrive or when we're going to get that information. That also does kind of suggest that if they are in development on whatever the next VR thing is, we're probably not going to hear about it during the month of October. It's probably still hopefully far enough in development that we'll hear something about it in early 2023. But right now, yeah, they're not anywhere near to announcing anything, it seems. Then we have the video game front, and so far, no new news on other video game announcements. We're just continuing to anticipate Jedi Survivor coming in early 2023 and Star Wars Hunters, hopefully also at some point, looking at March roughly as an approximate date, but yeah, still waiting for further details about that. And wouldn't it be nice to hear a little bit more about video game stuff? I've seen conversations happening online talking about how it used to be the case that we got a lot more Star Wars games a lot more frequently, and that maybe everyone's missing an opportunity not having more Star Wars games coming out. I don't know that that's necessarily the case, but I wasn't necessarily that deep into the video games in Legends days, so who knows? I'm willing to take people's word for it, and yeah, wouldn't it be nice to have a few more video games kicking around? Then on the merchandise front, well, shucks, they did not do an Andor merchandise situation the way they had done for Obi-Wan and for Boba Fett and for Mando Season 2. So, okay. Hopefully they announce something about that eventually, because I think they're going to want to have, action figures and get that whole merchandising train running. I'm really kind of surprised, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I guess we'll wait and see. But the holidays are coming soon, so if they're going to have something ramped up, now's the time. And if this is your first time joining me for a monthly update, then hi. And for everybody else listening, I promise I'll be quick about this. We're only looking at merchandising from the point of view of what can it tell us about Star Wars storytelling, because sometimes the descriptions of things like action figures and vehicles and Lego sets and that sort of thing can give us some insight into character and story and plot points and whatnot. So yeah, not really a collecting podcast here, which is fine. You got a lot of other options for that out there, but that's why we're looking at merch. Then there's the streaming category, which I guess technically I already talked about with Tales of the Jedi. That's the only thing that we are anticipating in the streaming kind of situation to be coming out in the month of October. And finally, live events and experiences and so forth. So for a start, The Mandalorian and Grogu are apparently not going to be in Florida. They're only going to be in Anaheim at Disneyland. I don't know why they're not at both parks. It seems kind of strange, but I don't know if I want to necessarily make something of it or be suspicious about it. It's just, all right, well, that's how it's happening. Okay. And preparations are still ongoing for Star Wars Celebration 2023 in London. That's happening, of course, April 7th through 10th. Still, only Monday adult tickets are left on sale, and then 4-day and single day for all 4 days are available for kids, but you have to have an adult ticket in order to get one of those. They haven't yet posted any information about panels or hosts or featured guests or anything like that. The only thing that's going on right now is art show submissions. They've already been through a first round and they're on a second round of evaluation. That deadline for the second round of evaluation is next month, so people are getting together their stuff to be considered for inclusion in the art show next year. And that right there is everything that we know at this point about what's going to be happening in the world of Star Wars storytelling for the month of October 2022. And as news breaks and as we get surprised over the course of the month, we'll be talking about it here on the show. But for now, that is going to do it for this episode of the podcast. And it just remains for me to say thank you so much for joining me for it as always. And may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be.
7x7 is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2021 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.